Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. And today it's going to be a best of 5 PvZ featuring Trap and Reynor from the quarterfinals of WCS BlizzCon 2019. This is the highest level of StarCraft 2. Two players who are extremely excellent to make it to the quarterfinals. And in the bottom right-hand corner is the Red Zerg player. It is Reynor. He's 17 years old and hails from Italy. In the top left is his Korean opponent. It is the blue Protoss player, Trap. This is the part of the cast where I realize I should know how old Trap is, and then I don't, and then I Google it while nothing much is happening on the map right now. So Trap, in StarCraft 2, he is currently playing for Jin Air Green Wings, and according to Liquipedia, he is 25 years old. So a little bit older, actually, compared to some of the players competing in esports in general. But I think he's an amazing player regardless. He had a fantastic 2019, able to qualify to even attend the WCS Global Finals at all, and then making it through his group to be one of the two best players to fly to Anaheim and compete in these quarterfinals. It's going to be a fantastic series. ZVP is my favorite matchup. These are two of my favorite players from 2019, and let's see who's going to come out on top in this best of 5. Now, Thunderbird, known for its macro-style games, but again, that means that sometimes you can throw together a little bit of a two-base attack and people don't expect it because they're like, dude, you're Protoss, just take your third base. It's really easy to do. Just wall this thing off and call it a day. And if you're Zerg, you know, you can be aggressive, which is weird because everybody wants to play like Serral, right? So going for a two-base attack can be a little bit strange, although that 2.5 base Roach Ravager thing we see against Terran is pretty effective regardless of the map you're on. Rush distance matters, and this is a pretty long rush distance, so you probably won't see it on this particular map. But at the same time, I don't see why not. I mean, just, again, catching people by surprise is one of the ways to win games in StarCraft. Hard to do against Protoss, just because they are consistently probe scouting every match, every game. I don't know about the math here. I don't know why the financial realities work out that where Protoss can probe scout every game and it doesn't hurt them. But it does hurt Terran in certain matchups, and it hurts Zerg in every matchup. Don't get it, but whatever, it's fine. Stargate opening here for Reynor. Or for Trap, rather. If Reynor opened up Stargate, I'd be calling hacks immediately. Third hatch coming up. And while this is all happening, I do want to say there's a little bit of a concern as to what YouTube is doing in trying to comply with U.S. federal law regarding programming for children. It's called COPPA, I think. C-O-P-P-A, I believe it is. I get it confused with like Copa America, but it's not COPPA, it's COPPA. Anyway, what it basically is trying to do, it seems like, is regulate programming aimed at kids. Now, I don't know if that applies to me. I'm not intending for this to be for kids, but I'm definitely family friendly, right? This is something you can probably watch with your kids and not have to worry about it, but I'm not aiming for kids just because I feel like, again, StarCraft has been around for a long time. StarCraft 1 came out in 1998. StarCraft 2 came out in 2010. So, like, this is not, like, current gaming stuff. I don't know how many 10-year-olds are getting into StarCraft at this point. I hope there are a lot, but I don't feel like there are. So, bottom line, I don't know if these new regulations will apply to me. The Carbot stuff definitely looks more like it's aimed at children. But again, my comments are not filled with people who are like, I'm 11 and I love the Carbot skin. It's mostly, you know, I'm 25. This is a nice skin, a nice spin on something I've loved since I was a kid. I'm an adult now. Or I'm an adult who's loved StarCraft since I was, you know, younger, and now I hate the Carbot skin. I don't see many people who seem like they're children in the comments. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it applies to me. I feel like it could probably, and we'll see how it works out. Anyway, Oracle cruising on in here. It's a single Oracle. What a novelty these days. Does end up getting... Oh! Did kill a larva there, and going to force a cancel on this Spore. Does force the cancel and gets the drone. That's pretty good stuff. Another larva goes down too, and a cancel on that too. Very nice. This Oracle's name, by the way, is Mentally Scarred Quiche. The Protoss Armada found the quiche under a bench, felt a strong feeling of sadness and anger, and they decided it would be a good idea to include it on an Oracle AI to increase its effectiveness. This obviously didn't work, and this is just a normal Oracle AI with a quiche splattered on its core. The Protoss are sometimes drunk and do things, it turns out. Anyway, Mentally Scarred Quiche here. Insofar as quiche have mental capacities. Boy, coming in where there's a queen and 2 queens and a Spore, getting 2 additional kills there. 5 kills on that Oracle. 3 of them are drones, others of them are larva. Killing larva is pretty good against Zerg too, because that's where their units come from, and the more larva the better. The less larva, the fewer larva. The fewer larva? I think it's the fewer larva, the worse. Now, notice that Trap does not have a third base. I'm noticing Trap doesn't have a third base at the 5-minute mark. He is throwing up additional gateways. He's got 4 gas running right now. This is a very strong charge lot immortal style thing. Might even have Storm in the mix too, based on the fact that he has the Templar Archives. Let's see what that production tab says. It's Archons. Is it Archon charge lot? Ooh, so we get our first Archon here. He needs enough gas to warp in. There we go. A second Archon, or a second Templar to make a second Archon. And there it is. So he does manage to hide the Archon stuff. And there's your third base coming up. Okay, so it's a little bit later than you usually see here on Thunderbird, but that's totally fine. Not worried about it. Overlord is going to get in here and scout all of the things, though, and say, ah, yes, this is going to be Archons. This is probably going to be charge lots. What I'm going to want here are Banelings or Roaches and Banelings. Zergling's going to be pretty bad in this situation, but in a pinch can maybe work sometimes. So here come the Zealots. Look at the timing on charge, too. 6 seconds away. The Zealots show up. Oh, their charge is not done. There we go. Now the charge is done. Oh, Trap looking a little bit scary here. This is a fairly touch-and-go situation. These Lings, there we go, trying to take down the Archons, and not able to do it, but they got some good damage done on that one. Queen stabbing at it from a distance, pulling the wounded one back. Got a couple Zealots here going after Roaches directly, which is not going super well for them as they are completely dead. Trying to kill a drone there. And this is one of those things where if you hold it, you're in a great place. If you don't hold it, you die. It's not an all-in from Trap because he has a third base, and there'd be like another, I don't know, 10 or so Zealots in the mix if this was an all-in, which might be really hard for Reynor to hold if we're honest with ourselves. But as it stands, he's okay. I think Reynor has held the initial attack. That Queen is going to die. Next patch, which again might be out by now, I don't know. They're getting rid of the 8 damage that charge lots do on impact, but they're giving them a greater speed buff once they've researched the charge ability. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. I believe Beastie QT's done some testing in the unit tester and discovered that losing that 8 damage is a huge deal. Like, Zealots are not nearly as scary as they were, but they're faster. So, I mean, speed is really good in StarCraft. Doing damage is also very good, though. So it might be a question of preference. Do you like, you know, what are going to be, at some point, the older Zealots, or do you prefer the new ones? I really feel like some players will prefer the new ones. Having speedy Zealots, just base run speed, is going to be really nice for getting in there and wrecking drone lines and wrecking SCV lines and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Protoss, I feel like generally might side on missing the charge damage, but till it's out, we won't see how it's played, especially in these higher level game scenarios. So Reynor's got a bunch of Roaches, bunch of Lings, worried about future Zealot attacks, which I don't think he necessarily should be, as there's not much here by way of standing army at the moment. 6 Zealots, a couple Immortals. It's really not much of an army here down here. Sentries can be a bit of an equalizer here with Force Fields and Guardian Shield. More Archons coming in. So Archon Immortal, in this situation, you're going to want Ravagers. Roaches are not going to handle this very well just because Immortals tear through them like they are made out of tissue paper. So Reynor, I'd like to see him make some Ravagers here. He's on 4 bases, though, and 79 workers, and he's totally fine. So 79 workers at 8 minutes means he can do whatever he wants at this point. He held on the early attack. He macroed his face off behind it. He's got Lings to see when the attack is coming. On the follow-up, second one. Does it count as a follow-up attack if it comes now, or is it just a second attack? I think it's just a second attack, and there we go. Ravagers popping in. That's what I'm talking about. We got Banelings for the Zealots, and yeah, Ravager, Roach, Baneling going to be the order of the day. With a Spire coming in, I feel like the Spire is more intended for Broodlords than anything else. We got to keep an eye on that Spire and see what we're doing, as obviously there's a Hive coming up next to it too, which I didn't comment on, but is definitely there. Anyway, hit the like button if you're enjoying the series so far and having a good time with it. I love my ZVP. Right side base, 3 o'clock for Reynor being created. Zealot trying to hold the Zelnaga Watchtower on the south, well, I keep calling it like south leftern side of the map. It's not what it is. Anyway, nobody has the Zelnaga Watchtower now, that is for sure. Centrifugal Hooks on the way, giving the Baneling speed and additional HP. And going for a Baneling drop. Do they have the +2 attack? Ooh, +2 is almost done. +2 Banelings will one-shot these probes. That's a really good upgrade to get, Zerg players. Keep that in mind and watch out for it if you're Protoss. And there's the Greater Spire. Okay, so definitely Greater Spiring it here today. We will see. We will see if this works out. Is Trap going to be ready for Broodlords? What you're going to want in that situation are a lot of Stalkers. You're going to want some Tempest for sure. Storm is pretty good too. Archon's pretty good if they can get under the Broodlords. Immortals are going to be useless. So you have a bit of a window here as the Banelings get dropped. And oh my gosh, did they kill? Really? Wow, look at this running. And then the Warpin was so good. 1 probe has died in this game. That was really good pull out of Trap. So you want the Banelings to explode on your Archons if you're Trap here. And so far, mission accomplished. I guess there's really not much else for them to kill. There are no Zealots in this composition. So just explode your banelings on whatever you want anyway, and just make sure the damage gets done on something. Yeah, army supply settling 94 to 66. Ton of High Templar and Zealots warp in to try to deal with this, and all the banelings are gone, so the Zealots are going to be really, really effective. Another Drop Lord coming on in, as I think the first one died. I'm pretty sure it did on the other side of the map here. Reynor pretty happy just to sit here on his, 4 bases. His 5 bases to 4 for Trap. Feels like he can make some effective trades. Feels like he's buying time to get out some Brood Lords as his Greater Spire is complete and he's getting +1 flyer attack. I think he needs a little bit more breathing room to go for Brood Lords. Maybe some time to free up some supply. So he's making 28 banelings. Holy crap, Reynor. How many banelings do you need, my guy? I mean, I support this fully. Banelings are one of my favorite units in all of the game. Even if they suck sometimes, that when they succeed, they're visually just really fun. As you noticed, a lot of my thumbnails involve baneling explosions because they really do catch your eye. Anyway, this engagement going fairly well here for Reynor. Right side Zealots trying to get into that 3 o'clock base. There are spines to handle them, though. And getting chased back. Nice abduct on an Immortal, killing it in midair. How many Immortals have died in midair? Meanwhile, baneling explosions dropping at that 3rd base. And Trap is suddenly in a massive amount of trouble. 28 Zerglings in production. Kind of feel like Reynor just wants to win this thing now. He says, screw Brood Lords. I'm going to kill him now with Roach, Ravager, Ling, Baneling with some Queen support, and we'll see how Trap handles that. All right, man. We'll see. I mean, Reynor, I guess back to the earlier discussion of are there kids playing StarCraft. Reynor definitely started when he was younger. He did not start a year ago when he was 16. He was already qualifying for the WS circuit when he was 16. So, I mean, so probably around 8, 9, 10 he got started, maybe even earlier than that. So there are some kids doing this. I'm just not sure how many there are. Storm on the way from Trap at 12 minutes. Zerglings cruising on in to deal with these Archons. And, well, they're all right with their +2 attack. No armor upgrades, but I'm not sure how much it matters versus Archons, who are doing bonus splash to everything biological anyway, and especially the Zerglings. Corruptors are out, and I think that should be a notification for Trap that he needs something to deal with Brood Lords. At some point, oh, there are no sentries here. Get on out of there. There's banelings! Oh, there are banelings. These Archons are fighting. This is not a place for you to fight, guy. The Brood Lords are coming in. The hammer is gonna fall here. Brood Lords being morphed right outside of Trap's 4th base. The Archons are trying to hang on. The Zealots are trying to chase this Roach Ravager army back. Lings are trying to buffer a little bit here while the Roaches and Ravagers actually take care of the Zealots. Once the Zealots are out, the Archons need to get out of there, and they do pull back. Brood Lords are here. This is just not. 98 to 39 army supply. Reynor is killing it. Killing it in game number 1. And there we go. Bringing down the Broodlings. Stalker count is not high enough to handle this. There are too many Lings and Broodlings all over the place right now. And that's going to be it. Trap is just falling further and further behind. He's trying to get probes out of there, but I'm not sure where they're even trying to go. And that's your good game. Reynor takes game number 1 behind a very impressive defense with banelings, with Roaches and Ravagers, and then taking up to Brood Lord, and again, just ending it with the Brood Lords at that point. Trap did not have enough Stalkers. He didn't have enough of anything, really, to make that happen, and that's why he tapped out so darn quickly. End of the day there, 21,000 resources lost for Trap and 16,000 for Reynor, which is a bad thing. If you're a PvZ player and you lose that much more in number of resources versus your Zerg opponent, you probably lost the game. But yeah, end of the day here, how many? 17 Archons went down, 8 Immortals died, 59 Zealots in exchange for 168 Zerglings. Great trade there. 20 Roaches, 76 Banelings. Only 4 drones went down and 25 probes got killed, and that was a major, major impact in game number 1 here too. So that's your game 1. It puts Reynor up 1-0 in our best of 5 Sunday series today. It's not over yet. It hurts to be down 0-1 in a best of 5. I hear ya. But at the end of the day, we'll see. We will see who can come out on top in game number 2. If it's a 2-0 situation, right? Well, bad things are going to happen here for Trap. So hopefully we can tie it up in game number 2. Give us a great series. We'll see together. We'll be right back. It's Acropolis for game number 2. Stealth Reynor versus Trap. Bottom right, Trap. Top left, Reynor. Woo! Game 1, a fairly standard ZVP. Trap gambled that he could kill Reynor before Brood Lords, but he couldn't, and then Brood Lords showed up and wrecked him. So that is the meta in StarCraft 2, as long as the new Ballads patch hasn't been released. I record these about a week in advance, so I'm not entirely sure when the balance patch will be released, but anyway, welcome from the past. Hey, know that I have merch? Did you know? Just falconpaladin.store, that's the entire URL. We'll take you to a land filled with t-shirts and hoodies and hats and sweatshirts and pillows and all sorts of great stuff. If you have any suggestions for me what to put in that store, because I understand a lot of it is kind of generically branded. We do have some new designs, though. So if you haven't checked it out in a while, you should check it out. We've got some new stuff specific to Zerg, Protoss, and Terran. So be sure you're aware of that you can do white or black on the background of those, and whatever you prefer. I prefer the black background, but the white background for those might be pretty good, too. So check it out, falconpaladin.store today. And let's see what's happening in this game. Reynor doing the really standard 16, 18, 17 build. Trap going for a 1-gate expand. There's your expansion timing at about 125. And then we're going to get the second gas and the second pylon up here. Unless Trap wants to go for a proxy of some kind, which it doesn't seem like he does, considering the probe is up here harassing and trying to play the mineral game. Which, where did I first see this? This is something Showtime really likes to do. Something Neeb enjoys, too, in his time playing Protoss. And what you're just, basically, for those who haven't seen it, you're just trying to make it so that the drones don't harvest on these minerals because something else is already harvesting. Their AI tells them not to harvest on something that's already being used. So that's what the shaking is for. They're trying to go somewhere else. Oh, he lost the game. He actually harvested minerals. So that's it. That's the end of the game. So Reynor has to use some APM to tell his drones, yes, harvest on this. Because this probe isn't actually trying to harvest. Stop it. And then the probe is trying to avoid getting a mouthful of minerals because then it can't do it anymore. You can't harvest from something if you already have minerals in your mouth. So it is taking advantage of some of the mechanics and some of the AI in StarCraft. It's just a way to use your excess APM in the first stages of the game because, well, you never know. You never know what you'll be using it on. You're trying to warm up your fingers, right? Reynor going for that third base at about 2.5 minutes. This is just incredibly standard for both ZVP and ZVT these days, and honestly, ZVZ. You can get away with it more often than not. We did see that in Reynor versus Serral, which was an incredible series, by the way. Not going to cast the whole thing, but I'm going to cast a couple of the more entertaining games. One of them already went up, actually, over on patreon.com/FalconPaladin, where for anybody who has pledged $1 a month to me or more has access to that game. If you want to see a ZVZ featuring the two of the best Zergs on planet Earth, well, by golly, you should go check it out. It's a lot of fun. There's Ultras, man. Ultras, Lurkers, Vipers, Hydras. Good late game ZVZ. My favorite ZVZ. It's just a shame it doesn't show up very often, but it definitely did. Definitely did at BlizzCon at Anaheim as part of this very tournament we're watching right now. Another Oracle on the way. This Oracle's name is going to be Hat Kid. Hat Kid is a child traveling through space in her wooden spaceship powered by time travel hourglasses. One day she stopped by a Protoss world only for her hourglasses to once again fall out of her safe and spread among the Protoss planet. In an attempt to find one, she platformed her way into a Protoss Oracle geared for battle. Now she desperately tries to gain control of the craft and get away with the hourglass before her time runs out. Anyway, did the Adept wait? Did the Adept really? Oh man, I am so embarrassed. 2 Adepts get in here. Who makes 2 Adepts early? Alright, fine. 2 Adepts show up. And there's Lings and Queens, but this is different from 1 Adept. 1 Adept is easier to kill before drones go down, but 2 Adepts harder to do. So there it is, 2 Adepts go down in exchange for 2 drones, which is not a good trade for Trap. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of it. But something we saw the Alpha Star do, actually, in the PvZ that I cast a while ago here. Well, fairly recently, but anyway. Yeah, really just sacrificing Adepts in exchange for drones, which, sure, if you kill a lot of drones, yeah, but 2 or 3 drones in exchange for a couple Adepts? Not enough. Zergling pressure here from Reynor trying to get through that wall. An Adept comes in and should shut that down immediately. And here's the lift and kill. Who was the... Crap, I was watching BlizzCon, and they gave credit to this to somebody. Might have been Classic, they said, was the first player to go for the Phoenix Oracle opening, where you lift the Queen and then kill the stuff. How did these Lings get in here? He canceled the thing, and then the Lings got in, got a perfect scout. Oh, Trap, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing this, man. Robotics facility scouted. Zergling might... Oh, it does get a probe kill. That's terrible. Meanwhile, double Oracle cruising in. Hat Kid and Friend here to try to murder as many drones as possible. Well, desperately trying to regain control of the craft to get home. Is not exactly attempting to murder... Oh, gosh. Well, one of you are dead. And I think that was Hat Kid. So Hat Kid is dead. Third base harassed by a couple Lings here, too. This is just falling apart. This is falling apart for Trap right now, it is. That said, 4 drones down in exchange of the previous 2 that we saw. So, I mean, we're looking at a total of 6 drones killed in the first 5 minutes, which is not bad. It's not 10 drones down, but it's definitely 6. Now, 10 drones, that was my previous theory, where if you lose 10 drones in the first 10 minutes against a Protoss, you're going to lose. Again, assuming they are of equal caliber to you in skill. But it turns out Reynor doesn't care. You can kill 10, 15 workers of Reynor in the first 10 minutes, and he'll just replace them. His macro is super duper scary good. As one of the few players on Earth that consistently can beat Serral, Reynor is a great player, as evidenced by the fact that he's up 1-0 here on Trap. And, well, is looking pretty good here in game 2. Like, I don't know who wins this one, actually. This is one of the series I wasn't able to watch. So Lings come in and they see a bit of a poke out from Trap. Couple sentries, an Immortal, an Adept. Nothing serious to worry about here, but you do want to make maybe a handful of Zerglings. Try to get us around on these dudes. Force fields are going to be important. Roaches would be fine too. Ravagers probably better as Roach production does begin here. Trap doesn't want to go in there with a small army. He's just feinting. Just pushing it a little bit, trying to make Reynor make things other than drones here in the first 10 minutes of the game, because if you just let the Zerg player make drones, he will be maxed out with a scary army at 9 minutes. Easy peasy. He's probably going to do that anyway, even if you do harass him, but it will just be faster if you don't. So please harass if you're Protoss. Please harass if you're Terran, especially. If you're Zerg, you can do it if you want, but I'm not sure it matters as much. Harassment, though, is just a big part of the game. Anyway, another Oracle down to these Queens. Yeah, losing that Oracle is bad. You wanted that to throw down Revelations on the army, but not anymore. Is he going to replace it, is my question. I'm not sure he's going to. Got a couple hallucinated Phoenixes out, trying to see what's going on back home. Reynor is at 76 workers, because, again, his macro is through the roof insane. And Trap here is just going for more Immortal Sentry Adept style stuff. Charge is finishing up. That's a huge core part of his army. It does force Reynor to make Banelings when he would rather not do it. He'd rather just win a Throat Ravager, but charge lots really make that hard to do in an open field. So the Banelings are 4. So Zerglings hiding in this corner. There we go. I was going to say Phoenix spotted this. So they're going to try to sneak in and cancel this third base, but then Trap found it. Now the army comes home to deal with it, and the Zerglings just really should try to get home. You trying to bait out force fields? I feel like that was a bait out force fields attempt. He could have just run home this way, but instead he ran right past the sentries and was like, hey, use force fields to kill us. We don't care. We'd rather use force field back home than on my front doorstep. So Trap just continuing to feint out. He pushes out, forces Reynor to make some stuff, which he's not going to actually have to use for a little bit of time here. Overseer scouting around, checking gas saturations. I mean, they're all saturated at this point in the game. Storm is just about done. And the hallucinated Phoenixes get picked off by ground units. Reynor making a 5th pace. He's like, you know what? Sure. I'm 8 minutes into this game. I have 84 workers. Let's just make stuff at this point. So Banelings and Lings it is. With upgrades, +2 melee attack coming in. Trap working on his +2 ground attack, which is nice. And there are some mutas out, which I did not expect. Who makes mutas in ZVP when there are already Phoenix in the sky? This is very strange, but it's working for Reynor, especially based on the fact that, you know, we're looking at 3 dead probes there. Hey, follow. Thank you. Wow, they killed that Phoenix. You can't lose a Phoenix to this if you're going to hold it off. Trap your control, though. Oh, no, flew on top of him again. See, Phoenix are really good at killing mutas, but they can't take direct hits. Meanwhile, Reynor says, let's go for a front door attack. Just jump right on top of all of your stuff here. Banelings getting on top of the High Templar. No storms got tossed down in that defense at all. Mutalisks fighting against the Archons. Nice save with the Warp Prism here. Roaches continue to press the attack. The Phoenix show up to get rid of the Mutalisks. And another Immortal comes and joins the party for the 2 that already exist. More Lings cruising on in, though. Again, Reynor's macro is insanely good right now. However, he recognizes when he's in a bad place, and the answer is right now. There are charge lots and stalkers, and without any Banelings here, I don't see this going well for Reynor. He does very smartly pull back to the creep, and Trap doesn't want to pull back any farther than that. Doesn't want to push any farther than that. How many probes have gone down? 8 probes. 8 probes have been killed so far. You know, 6 drones, but it's 90 to 72 workers. Reynor really likes getting up there in worker count. He really, really does. Can't say that I blame him for it. When I like to play StarCraft, I too like to be greedy with my drones. I'd rather die with a big economy than die with a tiny economy. It just feels bad. Contaminate on that observer, which, sure, I don't think you have any lurkers to worry about, or otherwise cloaked units. Banelings decide to go after the cannons because probes got pulled in time. Traps, again, his pulling has been pretty fantastic so far in this game. Warp Prism with Zealots in it is trying to get inside the main base, but there are mortals or overlords rather. Wow, I call them immortals. That doesn't make any sense at all. Overlords holding the gate here. Phoenix flying around, scouting stuff out. There's not much you can do about that because I think all of your Mutalisks are dead. Yes, in fact, they are. But Corruptors are on the way. We've got Adrenal Glands coming in here, too. Reynor really wants to kill Trap on the 4 bases now. The question is, can he? Well, pretty good storm. 4 more probes go down over here on the right side at this 3rd base. Archon trying to hold the way. Nice wall off. Baneling just crashing through the wall. Another great wall, though. Saving these probes. Trap is saving these probes so effectively. Might as well... Woo, they might as well send him Christmas cards, thanking them for their existence so far in this game. Like, really nice warpins to save the day there. Corruptors get... Oh my gosh, the Warp Prism, no. Alright, well, the Corruptors handle that Warp Prism. I mean, that's what you get for hanging out in range of an Overlord for 5 minutes. You're gonna die. Whatever. Adrenal Glands just about to complete here. Reynor is not getting a Greater Spire. He just started a Greater Spire, like right now. Okay. So we are going to see Brood Lords. I know a lot of you are just shaking your head saying, yeah, GG Lords are coming. Trap's not ready for those. He is making Tempest, though. Look at him making Tempest before the Greater Spire is done. And some of you are going to say, Tempests are garbage, Falcon. What do you know? And I don't know, man. I still think they're good to have against Brood Lords. Yeah? Yeah. Southern Base coming up from Reynor. And that is going to be his 6th? Good golly. It's going to be a 6th base, ladies and gentlemen. That Zealot sacrificed his shields for that Baneling to kill it. Pathogen Glands on the way. See some Infestors for the first time today. Storm against this army, pretty good. I wonder if Raider's trying to bait that out. I don't know. Hard to tell. Hard to tell if a bait is happening or not. Oh, free High Templar? Well, alright, fair enough. You turn him into an Archon, that counts as 2 free High Templar. Can't cancel that, so bye. We'll come back later when you don't have any High Templar because I forced you to turn him into Archons. Baneling is accomplishing very little at the 4th base of Trap. Yeah, I was waiting for these Brood Lords to finish. I think Reynor morphing them in a bit of a more defensive position than in game number 1. Does he have the Corruptor count to handle this mothership, or is he going to just abduct it in with Vipers, is my question. Does he have any Vipers? The answer is no. So it's not going to be an abduct with Vipers, that's for sure. Dark Shrine coming in. Remember those Lings? Taking advantage of the fact there are no High Templar? Well, there are a bunch of cannons with shield batteries, so never mind. Banelings? Oh my gosh. Did he seriously just, while I was looking at the 3rd base, do this thing too? Reynor is everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Everywhere and nowhere. This attack coming in, he's like, you know what a good time to go for a Baneling attack is? Now. There's a Protoss army on my front door, and Trap's attention is elsewhere. Okay. Yeah, that's... Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, at this point, Trap needs to win now. He's down 30 workers. He's got a good army supply for sure, but he just lost 18 probes. He's not really expanding anywhere here. Look at Reynor pushing in without anything to do with a mothership. He's like, you know, it's cool. I mean, I have a Corruptor, but we don't need more than that. All right, Trap stabilizing a little bit. I thought he was in a really dangerous position there for a minute. I mean, he is, economically. Corruptors continue to be produced. That Corruptor Ball looks a little bit better at trying to deal with a mothership. The Brood Lord's trying to find some high ground to live on. Look at the Tempest, just crushing them from distance, though. Oh, you stormed your own Immortal. Corruptors do get the mothership. Look at him just fighting against these Tempests, too. That is the Corruptor's main ability and focus here. Sure, all the Brood Lords are going to die, but all your Tempests are dead, too. The Immortals are going to try to crush these Infestors if they can. Fungal trying to help them escape. 3 Infestors getting out of there with very minimal energy. very minimal energy here, and suddenly army supply looking right here in favor of Trap, but it is 99 to 65. So I think Reynor should be able to hold here just based on a number situation, but he might lose a hatch, and that's something you got to do sometimes as Zerg, is be willing to sacrifice a hatchery instead of taking a really bad fight like this would be right now. So the hatch goes down, but Reynor holding back. He's got some Vipers, he's got some Roaches. Is Trap gonna do this? Trap with a little ragtag army, but oh, the Broodlords showed up and there are no Tempests to handle them at all. This is kind of like Ultralisk showing up against a largely Marine army. Bad things will happen to you as a Terran player. Ooh, he's gonna, ooh, gets the Baneling Nest and the Greater Spire. Get the Greater Spire! Get the Greater Spire! No, he didn't get the Greater Spire. Are you kidding me right now? Greater Spire still remains. Funny story. At this point, while I was recording game 2, apparently I ran out of hard drive space and I didn't realize it, so the recording ended at 15:26. So I'm gonna do this over again, and let's go ahead and get right into it once more. Trap going home, starting a mothership, warping in High Templar, and warping in a robotics bay here. Zerglings, what are you up to here? You're going to be morphed into Banelings? I kind of feel like you're going to. Infestors in production, Broodlords in production. +2 flyer attack in production here for Reynor. Double Warp Prism up to no good here. I wonder if Reynor saw that. Well, these guys will definitely see it. That is for sure. Where's your army? Your army is down here. Broodlords are slow, you guys. That is the takeaway from Broodlords here. Dark Templar attack as well. Dang, Trap, you're doing this very, very well. Charge Law. It's going to go ahead and snipe down to the Baneling Nest that is being used to replace the Baneling Nest. And the Dark Templar does actually snipe down the Greater Spire. Wait, hold on. Can he get it? This Queen is not actually paying attention, beside the fact that she's right there. And it does go down. And meanwhile, more Zealots warping on in here. Oh, but cancel. As a ton of Roaches showed up, can they take down the spawning pool? They can. The production of Zerglings is now done. Replacement spawning pool on the way. Replacement Baneling Nest needs to come in here too. This is so bad for Reynor. Trap doing a great job sniping production facilities, tech structures. More importantly, I guess I should have said, he's got the Tempest now as well. Oh, this is so good. Trap clawing his way back into this game, making additional Tempests to deal with the Broodlords. I know some people hate him, but man, Tempest with their range and how hard they hit, they are pretty fantastic against Broodlords. Blink Stalkers can be pretty good too if you can blink right under them, but the problem is there's going to be things like Hydras and Infestors to fungal you and Zerglings to murder you when you try that in most situations. Now, Zealots trying to head on over this way. They're going to run into a bunch of Zerglings and some Roach support, and that's just it for these Zealots. There's no way. Neuroparasite completing right now. We'll probably see that on the Mothership. We usually do in situations where the Mothership exists. 18 Lings in production. We're both effectively maxed out and on about 120 army. North Base does get taken down. Nicely done, but the Roach is continuing on to go against this bottom right-hand base, depowering the cannons, going after the Nexus. It looks like going for the big kill. Zealots getting murdered here. Stalkers do not want to stand and fight directly against these Roaches, I can tell you that much, although they are. With Zerglings coming in, that's a problem. Warping in stuff. Maybe we got a huge engagement up here up top while all that is going on. Mothership does go down. Can the Tempest get rid of all of these Broodlords? Archons are just tearing through drones and tearing through infested Terrans that have been tossed down here at the same time. Can the Tempest hold on right now? They're actually doing really well for themselves against the Corruptors. Corruptors are all gone. Final Broodlord is gone. There's a ton of Protoss over here. There's not any Zerg to deal with it. Neural Parasiting a couple of these Archons. Sure, that helps a little bit, but we still have 2 Archons that are immortal on the left side. We've got, oh, more Neural Parasite, though, really saving the day right now for Reynor, using that spell to the utmost of its abilities. Zerglings coming in, getting a full surround on the Archons and Immortals. They are dead. 31 drones have been killed. Army supply, 87 to 60 right now. Reynor is flooding in Zerglings like crazy, which is what he needs to deal with a Stalker Zealot style play. There aren't many Archons here. There are no Disruptors here. No Colossus either. 31 drones have been killed by Trap. Reynor is in a massive amount of trouble economically. Actually, you know what? He's fine. 52 to 47 workers, as Reynor did manage to wipe out this base in the bottom right. So he did equalize it a little bit here. Some changelings trying to make sure that base never actually came back up. And boy, that for a second there, it looked really, really scary for Reynor. I gotta bring this back up too. He is up 1-0 in the series. This Tempest with 10 kills is gonna go down. Ooh, Infested Terran shot takes it down. That Tempest pilot is happy. Infested Terrans are being removed from the game entirely. I can tell you that much. There's just not much of an army here for Trap. He's at 22 army supply, which I think is effectively this, including the Warp Prism. He's warping an additional Zealots to try to bring it back up, but Reynor just has an army. He's got a ton of Infestors. He's got Roaches and a Ravager. Every unit that dies for Trap is so bad right now, and that's your good game. Reynor does take the 2-0 lead in this series. Brutal position to be in a best of 5, but can Trap make it a series today? We'll have to find out together going into game number 3, but for now, what a fantastic game 2. Resources lost, 47,000 for Reynor and 41,000 for Trap. Trap did a good job being cost efficient, but Reynor just had too many bases. What did he end up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total bases he was working on. Trap never really got up 6th at all. He did have a 5th for some time, but it died a few minutes ago, and he never really replaced it. All Broodlords died in this game. 16 of those went down. 18 Archons got killed. A mothership, 2 motherships went down today. 19 Stalkers, 51 probes, and 57 drones. Pretty close game, but at the end of the day, Neural Parasite saved Reynor's behind. He was in trouble, able to neural down those Archons and those Immortals was so useful while I was waiting for units to pop. 10 Infestors got killed there too. But at the end of the day, I mean, the army was, just huge. It was huge for Reynor. Not like traditionally massive, but 15 Infestors is a lot of Infestor with a Roach Ravager supporting army. Infestors are the great force multiplier, and they're going to be changed. There will be changes to them coming up soon. So keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, let's check out game number 3 here. Don't go anywhere because we will be right back, I promise. Disco Bloodbath, my favorite map, I think, in the map pool. It's going to be Reynor and Trap again. Left side Reynor, right side Trap. And the reason I like this map is because it is colorful. I know Terran and Protoss don't like this map because of how wide open the third base is here, so... But it's pretty easy to wall off your natural. I kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe that's a trade that people would make, but third bases are pretty important, and people already know how to wall off the natural on the other maps, so... I don't know, it wasn't vetoed by Trap, so it can't be that bad, right? Hatch first here out of Reynor at 16 supply. Trap, man, you need to pull out some builds. You need to pull out some stinky cheese, some underhanded Protoss stuff. Because if you're trying to play a macro game against Reynor, then I feel like you're going to lose at this point. Or, if you're playing a late game against Zerg at all, you're going to lose, according to people on the internet, especially in the StarCraft subreddit. Yeah? Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. We have ample evidence that it's very hard to beat a Zerg player in the late game in the current patch. But again, there could be a new patch out there. This is very weird for me because everything I say about the current patch, it could be A or B. It's like Schrodinger's patch. It's basically Schrodinger's patch here. We're basically saying, hey, is it live or is it not? And I don't know. I don't know until it happens. I don't know until this is actually posted live on my channel, whether it is or not. So strange. So weird that way. Anyway, got our Ewoks down below, which does remind me there's a new Star Wars movie coming out. I do have my ticket for it. I don't know. I'm going in with probably the lowest expectations for any Star Wars movie I've ever seen in my entire life, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, Revenge of the Sith, how low are the expectations? The trailer was great, and it turned out to be pretty good. Maybe it's because I went in with lower expectations. So darn confusing. Ultimately very confusing. Anyway, Reynor's got a third base coming up here at 2.5 minutes. Nothing too crazy from him. He's not doing crazy things. Trap, though, is going for the proxy Stargate. So he's doing the crazy things. Overlord is not in a position to scout this. He doesn't know there's a pylon missing from the main. So Zerg players, check it out. If there's a pylon missing from the main, and there's one down here, and we're at this point where there are 2 bases, go look for a proxy. Is this Zergling going to find it? This Zergling is checking this little clouded area. That's a good place to look. I'm actually a fan of that. And swinging back around. And he's going to find it. Look at this angle. Bam! Ends up finding the Oracle. Finding the Stargate. Production immediately tossing up some Spore Crawlers, which you didn't need until now. By default, you don't need them until about 4 minutes, but based on this proxy, we're going to start them now at 3 and just be safe. It's Oracle's name, which I think we're going to have multiple, right? Well, maybe just the one. No, another one is on the way. So these Oracle's names are Professor Fate and Maximilian. After the great race against Leslie, this dynamic duo were once again up to mischief. Oh, don't die. Don't just instantly die. We have to name you, though. Okay, not dead. That's fine. 1 kill is fine. Sneaking into a top-secret American science facility to steal parts for their latest and wacky inventions. Is second Oracle here yet? Not quite yet. Unfortunately, they stumbled upon an intact Protoss core. Oracle, rather, and when they both climbed into the side of the cockpit, the professor said in his infamous line, "Push the button, Max," failing to specify which buttons. Max simply picked at random, activating the Oracle's dimensional recall and summoning the pair into the middle of an alien war zone, to which the professor yelled, "Max!" Now Max tries to press buttons seemingly at random to shoot laser beams, while the professor constantly calls him an idiot. Alright, I have some notes here. What I'm supposed to do. Push the button, Max! Blot, blot, blot. Pushing the buttons here. Killing a couple drones. I just don't think this is enough, is what I'm trying to say right now. It got scouted. It did a little bit of economic damage. Overall, not enough, though. I don't think a third Oracle is trying to join the party, but that's not going to happen because this pylon is going to die first. Not even going to be close, and there's the cancel. Trap recognizes what he's looking at here. So the Oracles are like, I mean, Professor Fate and Maximilian are like, Well, we have 2 kills each, which is nice. A couple more drones go down to Adept stuff. Sure. 4 more. All right, man. We're looking at 4 more drones. Again, trading Adepts for this. But how useful are Adepts in mid to late game PvZ, honestly? Not very? Like, I could give it a not very rating. Push the button, Max, indeed. Couple drones going down there. All right. All right. Oh, yes. He's trying to make the Oracle that has actual shields get in there and get damage done. Oh, Max. Max. Well, Professor Fate and Maximilian are dead, but the other Oracle of their buddy is still alive. Infestation Pit at 5.5 minutes from Reynor all of a sudden. Is he going Swarm Host? He has not gone Swarm Host, which has been super effective recently. Well, for a long time in PvZ. Swarm Host Nidus has been stupid effectively good, and this early Nidus, or rather early Infestation Pit is a key to what we're looking at right now. Spine Crawler, Spine Crawler, Spine Crawler, or rather Roach Warren coming up. Trap pushing out with a small army. Zerglings do see it, and that's just so discouraging. Like, you're trying to catch Reynor off guard here by pushing out at an odd timing, and he scouts it, and he sees it coming with his lings, and then he prepares for it with more Zerglings, and everything is totally fine. So here are Queens, and here are some Zerglings. More Zerglings on the way. This is actually no Roaches because the Roach Warren isn't done yet. Oracle's trying to help. These spores do go down, which means the Oracle has free reign to kill stuff on this left side. Dude, is Trap doing this? Is Trap somehow sneaking in? What is happening? He's getting into the natural base. He's going after this hatchery. The drones are pulled into a corner where the Oracle is murderizing all of them. The force fields are keeping everybody out, and Immortal shows up to try to deal with these queens. Not a great place for you to be an Immortal guy. But the natural base dies. That's a huge kill for Trap. Taking that down is massive, and getting into the main base. Here come the Zerglings trying to handle this. Guardian Shield is up versus these Roaches. Drones are in the fight too, trying to hang on. Great force fields keeping the Lings and the drones away from these armies. Immortal with 8 kills in the mix. Nice pickup, saving a huge warp in of Zealots. It's 43 to 39 army supply. These Zealots are looking pretty good right now. They don't have charge, but they are attacking anyway. This is going way better than I expected it to for Trap. He's catching these roaches in a corner, which is where they never want to be. Immortal with 11 kills here. Finally, Reynor makes some Ravagers, but after how much damage has been done, 34 drones have died so far. It is 45 to 30 workers. It is a 2-base to 2-base situation. Reynor wants to win this game in 3-0 Trap, but it looks like Trap has other plans. And that's your good game. Trap does manage to defeat the young Reynor in game number 3. Was Reynor being too greedy? Was he trying to go for a Swarm Host play, skipping the Roach Warren, skipping the Baneling Nest, trying to hold it with Lings and Queens? And Trap said, let's go for a straight-up 2-base attack, no 3rd base back home at all, and let's just try to kill you now. And by golly, it worked. This is how you kill Zerg players, you guys. You kill them early before they get big, scary armies out. Resources lost 6,000 for Reynor, 4,000 for Trap. That's what you want to see if you're a Protoss fan. And Trap manages to get the number 1 next to his name. Woo! That is how you do. That is how you do it. Great job. 11 Zealots went down. No Immortals died, which is a really big key to winning PvZ, in my opinion. Yeah, man, the roaches were late. Trap was just able to kind of sneak up there. Taking out those spores was huge, too. It meant the Oracle could help with the DPS against those Lings especially, and it sure did. It certainly did. So that's game 3. Wow. So it's a 2-1. Reynor still has a Trap on the back foot, but we're not done yet. Don't go anywhere. Winter's Gate. I like this map, too, actually, just for the color we have on it, right? It's a lot of white, which I like because of the snow, but accents of red everywhere just to make it pretty, and kind of reminds me of Christmas that way. I got my Christmas lights up, actually, last week, I think it was, just because last year I waited until after Thanksgiving to put them up, and it was nothing but snow and ice from after Thanksgiving until through, like, February, so there was no safe time to get on the roof at all. I was sad I didn't have Christmas lights because it was just icebound. So this year I was like, let's do that before the ice and snow comes, and I did. And it turns out it's been really nice weather for the last week. So I probably could have waited another week, but better safe than sorry is what I say. I haven't turned them on, though. I'm not like my crazy neighbor who's had their lights on for 2 weeks now, every night. Like, come on, man. It's not Christmas time yet. We still have Thanksgiving here in the United States. Reynor just throwing down his hatch first at the 3rd base. Knows there's a probe coming, not even worried about it. It's a fairly short rush distance here. He's probably done this 100 times on Winter's Gate, but anyway, what are we doing? Trap, you making things happen? By the way, Trap's in the bottom right, Reynor's in the top left, for those of you who are listening, I guess. Trying to get the radio cast version down. Do people still do that? I know for a while there are people who were like, hey, thanks for doing a radio style call, or you saying everything that's happened, because sometimes I'd like to listen to your casts and not necessarily be able to watch them. Like you're at work or something. It's easier to listen to something than watch without your bosses getting mad at you. So if you still enjoy that, cool. If there's nobody still doing that anymore, I don't know. I might try to go to a little bit more dead air time here. Dead air space. Kind of let the game breathe, which is something I should do anyway. Should be doing it anyway. You guys have the production tab. You guys have the worker count. You guys have APM meters. Reynor's casually at 2,000 APM right now, which just means he's bound something to his scroll wheel, which is something you can do. It doesn't mean he's actually spamming or that he's hacking or anything. It's just he has like D to his scroll wheel or something along those lines. I don't know. So Trap, not going for proxy this time, even though, I mean, I would argue it did him good. It really slowed Reynor down. That's the thing. Reynor was greedy, but at the same time, Trap did some economic damage in the early stages of the match. So you can't discount that. That's all I'm saying. There's not a 3rd base here yet. And now the Lings have to take some time to get rid of this pylon, which will be canceled. Eventually, is that enough? It's enough, but it's slow. And there's your cancel. And there's your 3rd coming in at 240, which is maybe later than Reynor wants it to come down, but not game ending or super discouraging for him or anything along those lines. Boom, boom. All right, so got a Phoenix out first here. Probably going to be the Oracle follow-up. If I had to guess, that's what we're looking at. Creep spreading back toward his natural base. He wants to make sure all of his bases are connected by creep, if Zergly possible here. And Trap really not giving us much of anything to go on here other than the early Phoenix. Does he have his other gases? He doesn't have them yet. It does kind of feel like charge lots. Did he cancel that? He canceled that Phoenix and started making Oracle. Interesting. Changing it on the fly here. So the Oracle's name is Mule AI. When a Protoss army destroyed a mining base of a Terran and they recovered an AI that they stuck in an Oracle shell as irony, now Mule AI travels to mineral fields to try and mine with its laser. It has bad aim and has yet to hit a mineral patch with it and usually hits workers instead. Hold up. Did he actually finish? He finished the Phoenix. He just chrono boosted out, so it came out earlier than I thought. Never mind. He didn't cancel anything. Falcon's just not paying attention sometimes as usual. Woo! So the Phoenix is going to kill the Overlord eventually. Or maybe get saved by these queens. Probably get saved by these queens if I had to assume. So Mule AI trying to sneak around the outside and maybe kill some stuff where the queens don't live. But queens are pretty fast on creep. And 2 drones is all you're going to get, buddy. 2 drones and you're going to be grateful for it. Did that Overlord get saved? No, Overlord dead. Sad Overlord noises commence. Roach Horn on the way from Reynor. Resonating Glaives coming in for trap. Robotics facility coming up. Adepts pushing on out. And a 3rd base on the way from trap. So it's Adept pressure with Resonating Glaives, but we're not going to see another 10 Adepts warp in here and try to get something done now. He's biding his time. And Queens and Lings will be able to hold this. Oh, he almost finished that transfer. That would have been a bad place for him for sure. There were enough Lings to handle that with the new bunch that hatched out just right then. Overlord scouts in, sees there's a robotics facility. Doesn't know what's coming out of it, but I mean, Immortals are a pretty good bet. Observer, not a bad bet either. And just losing some Lings in the middle of the map. Not what do you want to do, Reynor. Not what you want to have happen. Nice transfuse. Adepts do kill queens pretty effectively, especially with Resonating Glaives, which is not done yet, but it is. Whoa! Finishing the transfer. Resonating Glaives finishing now, and suddenly, attack speed faster, stutter stepping more effective. Roaches, however, don't care as much about your Resonating Glaives, and you have to get the heck out of there. So 2 drones down for all of that darn near work. A lot of Zerglings died, though. 26 Zerglings have died. Going to be 1,000 total losses for Reynor, only 500 for traps, so far so good on that path. He does have his sentries. Is he still? Wow, alright. Resonating Glaive Adepts, ladies and gentlemen. They kill stuff fast. It increases their attack speed by 45%, which it's a big increase in attack speed, just like Zerglings and Adrenal Glands. Although that is locked behind a hive, so trade-offs abound. That said, Zerglings I think are more effective in late game than Adepts are, so like I said, it's a game of trade-offs more often than not. Overlord scouts in and sees, Sentries and Immortals, eh? Well, that's what we're here to see. Not unexpected. Lair on the way, Baneling Nest on the way. Reynor not skipping Baneling Nest this time. I think he might have been a little bit gun-shy from the first game where he needed Banelings for sure to try to hold that. Just didn't have any at all. Reynor is going for a 4th base at about 6.5 minutes. Trap's 3rd is fully saturated here with about 63 workers. If you have 63 workers and 3 bases at 7 minutes, then you're as good as Trap is at macro. Are you as good as Trap is at macro? Spire coming in. Once that hallucinated Phoenix goes down, that's when the tech is chosen. Spire coming up, and whether that again is for Corruptors, I don't actually know. Trap being fairly patient at this stage of the game. He's moving out, but not really. He really just wants to get a 4th base. Yeah, man. Fair enough. I mean, what have I said about going late game against Reynor, though? I don't know about this, man. I'm feeling iffy about it. Infestation Pit coming in from Reynor in about 7.5 minutes. He's got 69 workers with 3 more drones on the way. So a 70-worker dream has been achieved for Reynor. With a whole bunch of Zerglings to boot, with a whole bunch of Queens and Ravagers, and he good. Pretty good snipe-offs there from Mule AI. 4 drones down. Got a total of 7 kills. All right, man. Going after these gas drones. I'm appreciating this. I'm appreciating this out of Mule AI. Army continuing to grow for Trap, because that's how Protoss and Terran work. They make army and they make workers at the same time. Zerg has to choose, but Zerg can also make a whole ton of units at the same time, and that is your trade-off. Again, StarCraft is nothing but trade-offs. Nothing but 33 banelings in production. Reynor enjoying his banelings against Protoss these days. And I gotta say, for a while there, I was not convinced as to the efficacy of banelings versus Protoss, just because for a long time they weren't very good. But certain players have made them look very good. Neve has made them look pretty darn good. Serral's done it. Reynor's done it. Dark, to a little bit lesser extent, seems to be more of a foreigner play. But even if banelings end up exploding on Immortals and Archons, they do a decent amount of damage. They don't do bonus damage, because they only do bonus damage versus light, which is why they're great against things like Zealots and Marines and Probes and SCVs and stuff. Revelation tossed down. Mule AI with 9 kills and still alive at 9 minutes. So far, so good, Mule AI. I still think Corrosive Bile could stand to maybe land a little bit faster. It's just not even... Okay, banelings from the backside, exploding on a lot of these Archons. They're trying to get in here and kill other stuff. The banelings on the left side handling that, though, and boy howdy, Trap's army kind of just got obliterated there in the middle of the map. That's a lot of dead banelings, though. I mean, that's the thing about banelings. You can wipe out an army, but at the end of the day, you can have very little left because your banelings also die in the process of wiping out that army. Makes them a little bit volatile, but they are really good in certain situations like this. Okay, a lot of situations. Reynor's going Hive. And I mean, we've seen this before, right? Reynor just kind of holding off Trap until he gets Broodlords, and then bad things happen to Trap. But yeah, I'm just backing up a little bit to Corrosive Bile. Is it ever suspenseful at all that something's going to get hit by Corrosive Bile, except for stationary things? I don't know. Banelings are trying to get in here and find those... Oh gosh, the probes in the back of the line. No. Oh, 13 probes down. Army kind of caught out by Archons and Immortals, though. It's only Roach Ravager here, which not super good against. How many Immortals are there on the ground right now? A lot. And Queen's getting killed off creep by Archons and Zealots, and Reynor getting forced out and heading north. Yeah, man, Immortal count. It's 7. How is it 7 Immortals? Jeez, 13 kills on their lead Immortal, the flagship Immortal of Trap's Armada right now. I mean, it's just an army, right? But it sounds more convincing and impressive to say Armada. 10 more banelings in production. Reynor not quite comfortable with teching up to those Broodlords yet. Not with Trap sitting on his front door. He needs units to handle this. And saving the banelings for what? That was strange. He pulled them back so that he wouldn't explode on the Zealots. But, whoa, more army showing up from Trap. Nice macro. He lost all those probes, but he's continuing to macro really well. Reynor's third base dies fast. Adrenal Gland's coming in from Reynor, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to make much use of it. Reynor coming in. Army supply 88 to 74 in favor of the Protoss. That is not what you want to see if you're Reynor. Trying to engage here, but the Immortal count still 2. Still 2-3 here. Ton of Archons. Are there enough Roaches and Ravagers to handle this? It looks very close, very tight. Corrosive Biles do actually hit on those Archons. I eat my words from before, but if you're backing up to actually defending a hatchery from Archons, you're not in a good position. Drones getting taken down. Charge lots on top of everything right now. The +2 attack for Trap is doing very well for himself, and it looks like he has managed to force a Game 5, and he has! Trap showing up before Broodlords arrive, wiping out 2 hatcheries, and then calling it a GG, taking Reynor down and forcing that delicious, delicious Game 5 that we always hope to see in these best of 5 series. Nicely done by Trap. The first 2 games looked pretty bad for you, my guy. But no Broodlords, right? You don't let Reynor get to the tier 3 stuff, you're going to have a better time. Sure, Reynor ended up losing a bunch of drones early on. A bunch of probes died for Trap, though. So, I mean, it was like for like there. Just at the end of the day, Reynor did not have enough stuff. Perhaps too many banelings versus a not particularly zealot-heavy composition. And then there just weren't enough Roaches and Ravagers to handle the remaining Archons and Immortals. I want to see how many kills some of these Immortals had at the end times here. We're looking at 11 kills on that Immortal. We're looking at 18 kills and 19 kills on those Immortals. 26 kill Archon, 20 kill Archon, 23 kill Archon. And this Archon is... Are you dead? Why can't I click on you? Are you dead? He's getting Corrosive Biled, I think, is why I can't click on him. But he probably has some kills, too. All right, Game 5. Game 5 coming up. Don't go anywhere. We shall return shortly. What a comeback from Trap. Seriously. Down 2-0 to best of 5 against one of the more terrifying Zergs on planet Earth. He scraps and he claws and he does weird tie-bigs and fantastic micro and forces a Game 5. Love this guy. Like him so much. So here on World of Sleepers, it's Trap in the top right and Reynor in the bottom left. I can't say World of Sleepers without saying it that way at least once, you guys. It just, I don't know, reminds me of World of Tomorrow, which is something that past people are pretty obsessed with. Like retro futurism. That's actually a subreddit out there that focuses on things that they thought the future would be like in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And it's fantastic. Oh, by the year 2000, surely we'll be living on the moon. Oh, by the year 2010, surely we'll be able to travel to Mars. It's just like, look, guys, slow your roll. We're not there yet. We are much slower at this than people thought we were. Also, everything is more circular in the future than it is actually today. So that's a lot of bubble things, kind of like tube style stuff. So people were anticipating. I guess, I don't know, we probably have our own predictions for the future is going to be like, and we're probably wrong about those ones too. So again, this is not unique to any particular culture, but I just really enjoy retro futurism in general as a concept. Alrighty then. Reynor is just like rain or snow or sleet or hail will keep him from going 16, 18, 17 in his ZVP. He will never do anything else. He will never ever drone scout. If he gets cannon rushed, so be it. That's what this Overlord is for, is to stop cannon rushes. If he gets double proxy gated, so be it. And that's the mentality. It kind of drives me nuts, but man, they really, I don't know if they've crunched the numbers or what, but they really believe drone scouting will put them so far behind in the mid game that they'd rather lose to cheese than be behind in the mid game every time they play a game. I mean, Zerg obviously is doing fine despite the fact that they can't work or scout, so I don't know why I'm complaining. Right? If Zerg wasn't winning BlizzCons and didn't have players like Serral running around, then I wouldn't be as worried about it. Or I'd be worried more about it? I'd be more worried about it. But yeah, Trap being really safe here too. He hasn't done anything other than this one gate expand outside of the proxy Stargate today. So he's been playing incredibly standard too. If you enjoy standard ZVPs, this series was made specifically for you. As Reynor's third base comes up, Probe checks the timing and says, yes, interesting, interesting. Very good. Stargate opening from Trap again. Are you seriously going Stargate again? I'm not a huge fan of doing Stargate every time. I'm not. I just feel like it's hard to get a lot of damage done versus Zerg when you go Stargate opening. Sure, you're going to get your traditional 2 drones, probably, but any more than that is hard to do. Although Trap's seen some pretty good success in it in the early games of this series, so, Also, bad news, I don't have another Oracle name on my Oracle name list, so throw them up, put them in the comments, and I'll toss them onto the list, and we'll be ready next time. I threw 4 at you today, all right? So this Oracle we're going to name Scooby-Doo. There's a new Scooby-Doo movie being made. I don't know how I feel about it. But his name is Scooby-Doo, and he's scared of things. So if you're scared of things, it's not a bad place to be. Like up in a big flying spaceship with a laser attached to it. Yeah? I'd be more scared to be on the ground if I was a StarCraft unit. Like, who knows what's going to come along and murderize you? But if you're flying, especially at this stage of the game, especially against Zerg, all you have to worry about is that you're being too aggressive. And that you're going to die when you're trying to murder stuff. Like, if you're a coward, you can just hang out here and never die. It is so rare that you're going to see, you know, Corruptors or Mutas before the 10-minute mark. Anyway, here we go. 1 drone down, and we pull out. Take a big time, bunch of shots to our shields. Bum, 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 bum. Is that another Oracle? Boy, Trap is investing a lot in these Oracles. I don't know the success rate of triple Oracle that I've seen on my channel recently. I don't feel like it's very good. We've seen Stats try it. And It's just a lot of investment in Oracle. And sure, you could probably kill some drones with it. It is harder to hold off 3 Oracles than 1 or 2. But at the end of the day, you're sacrificing a lot of resources that you should have with more traditional ground units that are going to be more useful as the game goes on. So it's definitely a trade-off. We'll see if it works out here for Trap or not. He's waiting for that 3rd Oracle. This is something, again, we've seen Stats do more often than not in games against Zerg players, which, sure, if Stats does it, it can't be that bad, but I'd like to point out, he did not make it into... he didn't win BlizzCon this year. Anyway, kapah, going after 4 drones down. 5 drones down. Nobody actually dies. Everybody gets out of there safe and sound, which is awesome. There are a couple of Adepts hanging out at the 3rd base, and we got Sentries and Immortal ready to rock against these Lings. So Trap playing well. 5 drones down. Total of 6 drones killed. No Protoss units have died yet, which is fantastic. And a 3rd base is coming up for Trap. He's defending it with a couple of Adepts and calling it a day. Zergling's trying to get in here, but it's just not. Especially with the army nearby, like, you might be able to get in there, but... Oh, the force fields are sick! That was some good force fields. This is a lot of dead stuff for Reynor. We're looking at 674 resources lost for the Zerg. 125 for Trap, which has got to be a cancel of some kind. Anyway, jumping in again. Oracles ready to rock. 2 more drones go down. Trap is trying to kill Reynor with 1,000 cuts. 8 drones have been killed. Reynor's only at 65 workers. He wants to be more than that. Let's just put that out there. But he should be able to recover. Again, we've seen him lose large numbers of drones in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game and recover from it, be at 90 regardless, sooner rather than later. He is going Infestation Pit again. He is going for a 4th base here at about 6 minutes. Is close to done, so we started at... Actually, no, it's not close to done at all. I don't know what I was seeing. Zerglings running into a completed base and picking up a couple probes is pretty good stuff out of Reynor. Liking that. They're going to get chased away, though. The Oracles cruise themselves on into the natural base. More drones getting killed, and Oracle's going to die. But Trap feels like that's totally worth it to kill additional drones. Oh, all the ones on the gas, too. Then he recalls out. Queen, ooh, almost got that Oracle. With 11 kills, by the way. Not too bad. If that's Scooby-Doo, you're braver than you give yourself credit for, my guy. Extremely brave. Army supply 64 to 43 in favor of Reynor, but a lot of this is going to be Roach. A lot of this is Zergling. Just kidding. These are Swarm Hosts. Is he going Nidus? He's going Nidus Swarm Host. I saw the early Infestation Pit, but he's faked me out on that before. Adepts getting stuff done. Couple drones dying, but a couple Adepts dying with them. All right, man. Let's see how Trap hangs on versus Swarm Host Nidus. The answer is, it is hard to do. This is something that was distinctly nerfed in the upcoming or possibly current patch. Dude, you can't lose all of your Oracles here. Okay, one of them's still alive. Reynor hasn't done this all series, and then suddenly he's like, hey, you know what we're going to do is this really good strategy that is hard for Protoss to stop. In Game 5. I'm not even going to attempt it until then. Oh, you have our Zealots? No. Is he going to... going after probes. Doesn't get the Nexus. Another Nidus erupts here inside the natural base. Zealots hoofing their way on over. Can they get in before another round of Swarm Host pops out? Wow, are you abandoning yourself in here? Oh, nope, back in. Oh, he does lose some Swarm Host because of the block. Nice block on those Zealots. Oh my gosh, Trap handling this actually pretty well. After that first attack, not too shabby. Roach Ravager army getting chased on back here. Trap looking really good. He's just trying to escape. That's all he's trying to do here is escape. The Locusts almost get an Immortal. There is 2 HP on that Immortal. These Swarm Hosts are dead. Dead, I say. Trap is doing this about as well as you can hope to do so in an elite ZVP. Reynor is left to throw up a Nidus in the front door. Like, far, well, close to the front door of Trap's 4th base anyway. Bunch of Roaches to deal with this ground army. This is tight. Feeling that this is a tight situation. Do you want to launch? Reynor's showing admirable restraint here. Never mind, he launched them. So he launches them, and now Trap just has to leave, is all he has to do. Meanwhile, Roach is sneaking into Trap's 3rd base. And this is the nature of this strategy, is you really try to overwhelm the Protoss, be everywhere that they are not. You just, wow, 18 probes down. Oh, the block of the Stalkers. The probes couldn't leave the house. Another Swarm Host down, though. I mean, Trap's doing a pretty good job killing Swarm Hosts. I can give him that. Killing 5 Swarm Hosts in this is not easy to do. Good micro on his Stalkers. They don't have Blink or anything. More Nidus Swarms erupting all over the darn place. I was going to say there are still Roaches here, but no, it's just the Nidus. Another Nidus Swarm erupts. The Roaches are trying to deal with the Charge Lot, so the Nidus Swarm stays alive. But the Charge Lot's chewing through them pretty easily. Chomping right on through them. The problem is 21 probes died. We're looking at 69 to 58 worker supply. Reynor has a lead right now. Another Nidus coming up. One of the things, and again, the either current or future patch, they're going to add a 14-second cooldown to Nidus Swarm eruptions. So this one erupts. You can't start this one immediately. 14 seconds later, it will start building, which is nice. I think that's a nice little reprieve for, you know, non-Zerg players generally. Oh, this base, though. That's a dead Nexus. There's just nothing to stop it. It's already injured. So Trap's third base is toast. Draining all the energy off of that shield battery. Not really accomplishing much otherwise, but hey, draining energy is not bad. Trap's like, all right, look, you don't have much of a ground army other than these Swarm Hosts right now. So I'm going to try to push on you here. A lot of Spines coming up from Reynor, playing this defensively. Immortals don't much care for Spines, but how much does that matter? I don't know. Trap long distance mining. He needs to get this done. He needs to get in. Where are these Swarm Hosts over here? Get back in the Nidus, guys. And they are. They're ready to pop. They're going to pop out here and launch another wave. Or he decides to use them for defense. All right. Interesting choice here. I mean, Trap is okay with this. He'd rather, although he's getting Corrosive Bile to death right here. Yeah, there you go. Bunch of Locusts going down. Bunch of Zealots dying for it. But so far, so good. I'd say the Swarm Hosts are dead army supply at the moment. Nidus Network going to get sniped down by these Archons. They're definitely target firing that thing. And Reynor's going to end up losing his third base. This is really big. This is really big for Trap. Can he hold on against the evils of Nidus Swarm Host? More Roaches in production. The Swarm Hosts are here. They're not quite ready to launch their Locusts. Trap again is on a timer. He needs to kill as much stuff as he can before the Locusts pop. And there they are, but they're getting chased away by an Oracle. There's still a worm up there, but Trap's goal is to keep Reynor on his back foot so he doesn't feel comfortable throwing the Locusts on the other side of the map. This is good. 12 drones going down. This is getting an epic tag. What a ridiculous series this has been. Oh no, fourth base though. Fourth base done. Trap has, well, sort of replaced his third, but economically, he is hurting. Ladies and gentlemen, Reynor, yes, did lose his third base. That is true, but his fourth base is up. His first and his second are fine, and his fifth is actually still mining, or just beginning to be mined as well. This Oracle has 8 kills. Really doing pretty well for itself as far as Oracles are concerned. Look at him forcing no mining to happen at this base. Look at these drones getting massacred. Wow, engagement in the middle here. Nice concave set up by Trap, although it's really just a handful of Stalkers on one side. Roach, Ravager, Corrosive Bile down, dodging it as well as he can here is Trap. Guess what? Locust coming into Trap's third base. And once again, just not enough. Not enough to stop this. A handful of Stalkers is not going to do it. Bam, and Trap is officially a 2-basing Protoss, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, the Immortals getting caught out. 2 of them do get saved by their Warp Prism buddy. Army running into a ton of Spines all of a sudden, kind of backed into her corner against Static Defense and Roach Ravager. Corrosive Bile dodged, blinked out of there. Immortals getting focused down, and GG Reynor ends up taking game number 5 in 14 minutes. And Reynor moves on here at BlizzCon. Why am I doing this wrong? 3-2, 2019. Wow. I mean, this is particularly why Swarm Host Nidus was nerfed. Nidus in particular were nerfed. The other thing they did is they actually nerfed the unload load times. So you can't unload your Swarm Host that fast anymore or load them back in as fast. So there are some things they're trying to do to stop this, you guys. But man, Reynor ends up going for the Swarm Host Nidus in a clinching game 5 and gets a win versus Trap in 14 minutes. Hoorah! That was a series. That was a best of 5 series if I have ever seen one. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. End of the day, I mean, what it came down to was Trap was able to win games wherein Broodlords didn't really exist. And there were no Nidus. So, that might be something that Blizzard looked at when they decided about this future or current balance patch, which I can't refer to without doing weird stuff. But 6 Swarm hosts died. That's not bad, I gotta say. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know, 6 Swarm hosts. We see games where Zerg wins, and there are no Swarm hosts that die, and those are just flawless victories, and they're totally possible. 10 Nidus Swarms killed. They're increasing the cost of the Nidus Swarm, too. Okay? So if you're watching this hoping for hope that future games won't be as hard for Protoss, they increased the cost of the Nidus Swarm from 75-75 to 100-1... No, from 50-50 to 75-75? Yeah. 50-50 to 75-75. 42 drones killed by Trap. Really, really impressive effort here, but again, ends up losing more than his Zerg opponent in lost resources, and you just can't do that. 6 Immortals down, 12 Archons down, 3 bases killed is massive. 1 hatch. The math adds up for Reynor. He gets the win. All right. Well, that right there is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and your Sunday series. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.